Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we listen to the current energies, to the intuitive insights, and we go as guided. And we are action-packed once again, so we're going to just jump right in and get to it. We have 5 topics, basically, that we are covering. Today, there's a Venus-Mars conjunction that occurs every 2 years. And so we have this beautiful aspect of coming together. I'll explain that in a moment. Then we have the Virgo full moon that is occurring on Saturday the 24th. It includes a tense T-square and a grand Earth trine. Then we have lucky number 21. So we're dealing with number 21, hexagram 21, and revelation 21. And then we have the main theme, our beautiful main theme. Let me bring that up because it's such a beautiful image. Our main theme of cutting through, a dazzling display of brilliance. And this speaks to both a celestial event, like a light event, this dazzling display of brilliance. And think the closest thing that would come to it would be like the aurora borealis. The northern lights and so forth. But also this facet of the diamond and this cutting through. It is the hardest mineral on planet Earth that's organic on planet Earth. And so there's this whole aspect, and it's so multifaceted, and it reflects. It imbues all the colors of the rainbow and everything. So we have this whole cutting through, a dazzling display of brilliance. And last but not least, we have, it's a leap year. It's number 5, and it's a leap year. And it's so funny. So next week, literally is 29 days in February this year. And so, and we've had this aspect, let me just bring it up really quickly here. We had this back on April 5th of 2023. And this whole mantra that we were going to leapfrog forward. Go straight to higher status from 11 to 42 and this quantum leap. And here, this week, we have this message of cutting through, a dazzling display of brilliance. And, you know, what they were talking about is this cutting through the mayhem, the minutia, the illusion, and then blockages. And what's so interesting about the word blockages, when we split it apart, block and ages, it blocks the ages. So blockages block the ages, meaning the advancement of time or the ages, where we're going. And our theme today, the energies and everything from the unseen, they're saying we're cutting through the minutia, the BS, the illusion, the mayhem, the blockages, because we are advancing. And the unseen has made that statement very clear to us. Arc of Destiny moves forward. We are not going back, we're going forward, and thereby they're going to cut through. And there's this dazzling display of brilliance. And the word brilliance means intense brightness of light, vividness of color, exceptional talent or intelligence. So think celestial in this moment. Think higher mind, higher octave, source, so that as these energies are permeating, and we see, again, I'm going to bring it up here. Here's our main image. This brilliance of the diamond, and you are each this diamond. We are each a facet of the whole, and we are yet our own brilliant diamond. And let me just bring up our mantra because this will explain it. Here's this beautiful image. It's like a bevy of diamonds, and it says, I am the brilliance I seek. And so the unseen is saying to us, recognize your brilliance, recognize the many facets of your being, your divine facets. Recognize that you are the brilliance you seek. And that is true of all of us, that is the brilliance within us. It's also what's going to be on display. And you'll see how that ties into Revelation 21 and this number 21. But, and Olivia is saying, welcome Olivia, welcome Sue. And put a shout out in the comments, say hello. And remember that we take your comments and questions live throughout the broadcast. So, and Olivia is saying, about time to cut through the BS. Yes, exactly. It's just time. We've been there, done that, and we are advancing. Remember, here's our beautiful, there's going to be a lot of images in the show today because they've incorporated from past shows and this whole message about advance. And thereby, this is where we are headed. So let's jump into, I want to jump into hexagram 21 ever so briefly. And it's known as biting through. So biting through, cutting through. It has to do with Alexander the Great and the Gordian knot and how he just sliced through it. Its action is discern. So discernment, using discernment. It's hidden influence, obstruction, that we're going to innovate our way forward. We're going to cut through the blockages. Its underlining cause is the well. And the well is that we have everything, this culmination, this coming together, and it's to inspire. And so it's to have enthusiasm, and you'll see how one of the numbers is youthful folly. So this enthusiasm, inspire. And there's this beautiful statement by Mahatma Gandhi that says, honest differences are often a sign of progress. Welcome, Colleen. So hexagram 21, biting through. Oftentimes we feel that life is unfair. However, if we look at the natural world, there is nothing resembling justice. Nature merely evens out its extremes or removes blockages to achieve balance. And this truth will eventually come to light in the situations that you face. You are a part of nature. If you have attached yourself to illusions of right and wrong that block your forward progress, biting through will dispel the illusion. See, we're cutting through the illusions. They've said, the unseen has said to us, empty your vessels, lay down the masks, the labels, the identities, these stories and truths and all this stuff. So we're dispelling the illusion. We're cutting through it. Unless growth is in the equation, life tends to reorganize by breaking things down. See, it's like unless it's advancing, unless it's growing, it's advancing, it's evolving, life tends to reorganize things by breaking things down. Ideas that foster separateness or boundaries blocking renewal or union need to be chewed over or presented through experience until the illusion is transformed into clarity. So we're moving from this state of illusion to clarity. And sometimes we got to chew on it, right? We got to look at ourselves. I just had this discussion and how everything is a mirror and we are meant to look at it so we see ourselves. Yes, the other person is playing a role or the event or the people, but it's so that we each see ourselves more clearly. The well as an underlining cause can suggest living too much in the inner world, leading to a time for your debut, whether or not you are ready. So this well as an underlining cause can suggest living too much in the inner world. If we're too much inside, it says this is your debut. It's about coming out. Let's go. And it's about coming in whether you're ready or not. You come out whether you're ready or not. That's just the way it is. It's there. I believe that's Ty Murray. And he said, you're never ready. It just becomes your turn. And that's what the case is, because once we walk through the fire, when we get to the other side, you typically have this moment of where you think to yourself, why did I wait so long? What was so worrisome or fearful or that I waited? Because I could have been so much further down the road already. This is, by the way, Hexagram 21. We're working with Carrie Hone from cafeausoul.com. And she goes on to write, you can create a false sense of reality and believe it is real. We're seeing a lot of that in the world, this false sense of reality, and they believe that it's real. Obstruction as the hidden influence shows that any blockage will come down. Discernment is how the truth has to be given careful consideration, even if you'd rather not face it. There are tons of things that we'd rather not face, but that doesn't make them any less true or real, and it doesn't advance us. When we don't face them, we stay stuck. It festers. And so this is about emptying the vessel, a clean, pure, beautiful vessel, moving forward. The focus on the mouth in this hexagram encourages clear communication. If there is something to be said to another, then speak up. If it is real, it will endure, and truth spoken is the only cure. When you are expecting clarity from another, it might not be forthcoming. This is because they may feel too severely judged by you. So it's about discernment, not judgment. It's about proactive, not reactive. Respond, don't react. Being an open vessel, allowing others to be heard as well as you be heard. Clarifying roles and boundaries might be in order, or you may need to simply be there for someone while they figure out their own confusion. Remember, sometimes, and to a degree this is fine, sometimes someone needs to be heard. They don't need us to do something. It's our natural innate response to help, react, respond, but sometimes we just need to listen. So there's this beautiful aspect about they may be in their own confusion. Biting through can lead to union, but you must have a willingness to listen. This is not about sacrifice, however. This is not about like, oh yes, I'm just the doormat and it just keeps happening. No. Each is responsible for themselves. And so we have this beautiful, the other party's needs and sense of purpose must align with your needs and sense of purpose. There needs to be symmetry and synchronicity and equal give and take. It can't, and it will ebb and flow, but it's not a one-way street. Often when exploring another's intentions, the answer shows unavailability because of an immutable truth or law that blocks union. A prior commitment such as marriage or an incompatibility of age or lifestyle can obstruct progress. The truth is more important than wishes when receiving biting through. So this is about being brutally honest with ourselves and with others, but in a kind way, in a positive, advancing way. It's not about putting someone down, oppressing someone else. We can lift each other up through truth, through purity, through honesty. It is time for you to seek the truth in this situation, and until you do so, your progress may be blocked. Open to the possibilities that can emerge after truth is clearly recognized. And there is a beautiful, I'm going to bring it up, it's our first quote, and it is this beautiful image of a child sitting in front of a teddy bear. And it said, the quote is, "The truth cannot be silenced. It is the child ever asking why." And this is by Carrie Hone at cafeausoul.com. And so remember, children, so we all are children, no matter our age, that youthful innocence of ourselves, the purity of ourselves. And what do we seek? We seek truth. We seek honesty. We seek love. We seek wisdom and care and nourishment. So the truth cannot be silenced. It is the child ever asking, why? And so that sets the tone, this aspect of truth and this cutting through. So it's like cutting through the BS, cutting through the minutia and the mayhem, the chaos and the blockages to advance, to get where we're going. And this then comes in with, we're going to look now at the celestial astrological influences. Let me bring these up. Look at our main energies really quickly. And we have the 2 all month long. It's the receptive, the divine feminine, to reflect. This 21, this biting through and discern. It's an 8 year, so it's uniting, unite. They all culminate in a 13, which is about fellowship and socializing. And this says, when we come together, see this uniting, when we are in fellowship with one another, when we socialize in a proper way, it prospers, we advance because we're all collectively unified in the sense of interaction, discernment, being able to have discussions, these aspects of ourselves that we used to do. They've eroded in the last decade. And so it brings about this opportunity to advance. And last, here's the 4, this youthful folly. So you see the child aspect about truth, this youthful folly that we try again. And it's number 4, it's foundational. So let's look at the astrological influences that are taking place. So today is the Venus conjunct Mars at 6 degrees Aquarius. Venus and Mars conjunct each other every 2 years, and they are doing so right now in Aquarius. Coming up on Saturday is the Virgo full moon at 5 degrees Virgo, and then again out in April 20th, we have the Jupiter conjunct Uranus, big event. This is about, the astrological influence is about joining forces. It is about how the divine masculine and the divine feminine come together. And we have this opportunity to do so in Aquarius. This is, again, a 2-year event. So it starts today. And I'm just going to read from Pam Youngin's North Point Journal for a moment and bring this up. And she speaks to, let me share my screen with you all. And there you go. And so you can see Venus and Mars align this week, an event that occurs every 2 years when the 2 planets rendezvous at the same degree of the same sign. This is an interesting alignment, bringing together energies that we usually think of as being opposites. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, represents the attributes we call feminine: sensitivity, receptivity, intuition, creativity, and cooperation. All these things that have been missing in the last decade. So this socializing and fellowship. Mars, the god of action and desire, symbolizes the qualities we call masculine: assertiveness, courage, confidence, extroversion, and independence. As these 2 planets conjoin in Aquarius on Wednesday, today, to begin their new 2-year synodic cycle, we have the opportunity to draw on both feminine and masculine qualities in equal measure. This joining forces, this coming together. We might utilize this influence to begin a new creative endeavor, embark on a new relationship, or a new form of relationship, or in some other way invest our heart energies in something that excites us, enthusiasm, to incite. With the alignment occurring in progressive Aquarius, these new activities may be experimental or demonstrate a break from tradition. Whatever we become involved in, it will be important for us to be authentic and to maintain our individuality. So remember, authenticity, truth, cutting through the minutia. Why? Because a dazzling display of brilliance is at hand. It's about us, and this is from the inside. What the unseen is saying is, recognize or see this diamond, this facet internally, in your mind's eye, within you, and also all around you. So this dazzling display of brilliance. And as we come into Revelation again, 21, you're going to see how this expands in a more celestial way, in a greater way. So this is an aspect with Venus and Mars conjunct today. And then we go to the Virgo new moon that's coming up. So we're looking at all the astrological aspects very quickly here. And let me again share my screen with you, and we will go continuing with Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. The current lunar cycle reaches its peak this week when the moon is exactly opposite the sun in the sky at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, February 24th. At that time, the moon will be positioned at 5 degrees 23 arc minutes Virgo, opposing the sun at the same degree of Pisces. So a full moon, they are always, the sun and moon are directly opposite one another. A full moon always requires that we find a way to balance the qualities of two very different signs, that we moderate between two polarities of expression. In this lunation, the sun in transcendent Pisces promotes a more creatively imaginative, go-with-the-flow approach to life, and assures us that spiritual surrender is key to navigating this reality. Spiritual surrender. It's about your soul source connection leading. That's what we're surrendering to. We surrender the ego, mind, personality to the creative aspect, this creative imagination. We go with the flow. At the same time, the moon in analytical Virgo compels us to focus on practical matters, reminding us that paying attention to details can be essential. To successfully navigate the energies of this full moon, we must not only observe the forest from above, we must also walk through that same forest and focus on the individual trees along the trail. So this is talking about both higher mind, higher consciousness, soul source connection, being connected, this higher overview and looking down at the forest. And at the same time, being rooted, and I've got the Lady Jacalyn in my head, like bringing it into tangible aspects where we are literally walking within the forest. We are one with the forest. We're here on planet Earth, and we navigate and take note of the aspects, the trees, what's happening in our surroundings. We do so, though, in harmony and balance with the two. The two are in concert. So imagine higher octave, divine feminine, Venus, with divine masculine, Mars, as we navigate, as we go about life. Continuing on, a full moon always requires that we find a way to balance the two qualities. In this lunation, the sun compels us, got lost here for a second. So Mercury and Saturn are both in close proximity to the Pisces sun, and you'll see that in a minute on the chart, at the time of the lunation, and thus are opposite the moon. With messenger Mercury involved in this polarity, there may be verbal conflicts and irrational arguments. The challenge here is to use both the head and the heart in our communications, and to understand that two people, even if they are observing the same scene at the same time, will describe it in different ways. And that is so true of humanity, of humans. We can see things differently, and yet we've experienced the same event. The planet Saturn is known as the teacher and lesson bringer, often requiring that we take responsibility or approach a situation with greater maturity. While Saturn is in idealistic Pisces, humanity is being tested in our ability to walk our spiritual talk. See, this is about walking the talk. This is not about, airy-fairy, we just talk it. We do it one day a week, and then off we go, and we just revert back to our shadow aspects. This is about digging deep. It's about cutting through. It's about reaching that dazzling display of brilliance, because it's upon us. It's within us, and it's upon us. So this is about walking our spiritual, walk our spiritual talk. Proof is in the pudding, and where the rubber meets the road. There's a lot of idioms that go along with this. to bring our higher level perspective into practice on the physical plane. So we're talking about walk our spiritual talk so that we ground it, we bring it into our lives. We are also learning the importance of boundaries and of paying attention to reality when we might prefer to avoid certain interactions and situations. This is about being informed, discernment. We don't have to ignore things, and we don't have to engage them to a point where they take over our lives. It's simply to be, because where we focus our energy is the experience we have. So be very mindful and conscientious about where you're focusing your energies and where you are utilizing your brilliance, your light. This full moon could thus be a time when we see more clearly something that isn't working, that we may have tried to ignore, but that must be attended to. Part of the challenge will be not to fall into a negative space, since it could be tempting to see the glass as half empty and to feel disillusioned about how much work needs to be done. There's nothing that is too big. Just break each thing down into bite-sized pieces, cutting through, biting through, chewing on it. Just simply break it down. Likewise, we must watch a tendency to be self-critical, to be judgmental, or to feel in some way morally superior to others. Thankfully, this full moon is also in a harmonious aspect to benevolent Jupiter. As we strive to find our balance and learn the lessons of the lunation, the giant planet is standing by, ready to assist us with a more optimistic outlook and a renewed faith and hope. Jupiter in Taurus helps us see signs and symbols in nature, encourages us, Aurora Borealis, the northern lights. This helps us to see signs and symbols in nature, encourages us to believe that even mundane life experiences have a higher meaning, and supports our ability to embody the peace that we want to see in the world. Because that's ultimately the objective, right? Peace. Peace within, peace in our world, this ability to go about our business in fellowship, in unity, in kindness and love. That is the ultimate goal, which when that occurs means we're living in peace, peaceful times, peaceful energy. So the unseen, first thing they said was joining forces, coming together, unity. And then I heard Judgment Day, Revelation 21. We're coming to that in a moment. The second thing they said is a great and everlasting brilliance inspires you. Renewed, made whole again. So this is saying, and I'm just going to bring this up, these two images up. It's our main theme, cutting through, a dazzling display of brilliance. So a great and everlasting brilliance inspires you. From the inside out, from the outside in, it will inspire you, inspires us, and it renews us. It makes us whole again. With our mantra, I am the brilliance I seek. So keep these two images and these two statements, this cutting through and this I am the brilliance I seek, keep it in mind, keep it at the forefront of your being as you walk through these energies, and certainly this the arc of the Virgo full moon. Because number 3, they said, the unseen said, here comes the sun, and it's the song by the Beatles. Here comes the sun. And it's S-U-N, S-O-N. So let's look at Revelation 21. And because the number 21 just kept coming back as I was looking at the information from the unseen. And the word revelation, a surprising and previously unknown fact, especially one that is made known in a dramatic way, or the divine or supernatural disclosure to humans of something relating to human existence or the world. So that's what the word, the definition of revelation means. So here's Revelation 21. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. So this is a dazzling display of brilliance, something that descends. It is not built from the earth up. It descends. He who was seated on the throne said, I am making everything new. Then he said, write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. Truth, trust, clarity, this cutting through. He said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. And remember, we had this Alpha and Omega image from June 28th, 2023, the show that occurred then. And look at the double images of what could look like a double moon, a double earth, or a new earth and an old earth. But this discussion about I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life. Those who are victorious will inherit all of this, and I will be their God, and they will be my children. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice witchcraft in a sense, magical arts, witchcraft, the idolaters, and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls full of the 7 last plagues came and said to me, come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And he carried me away in the spirit to a mountain great and high, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. It shone with the glory of God, and its brilliance was like that of a very precious jewel, like a jasper, clear as crystal. A jasper is associated with being a diamond. So it is clear as crystal, this highly prized, unique diamond. It had a great high wall with 12 gates, and with 12 angels at the gates. On the gates were written the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. There were 3 gates on the east, 3 on the north, 3 on the south, 3 on the west. The wall of the city had 12 foundations, and on them were the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. The angel who talked with me had a measuring rod of gold to measure the city, its gates and its walls. The city was laid out like a square, as long as it was wide. He measured the city with the rod and found it to be 12,000 stadia in length, and as wide and high as it is long. The angel measured the wall using human measurement, and it was 144 cubits thick. The wall was made of jasper, of diamond, and the city of pure gold, as pure as glass. The foundations of the city walls were decorated with every kind of precious stone. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third agate, the fourth emerald, the fifth onyx, the sixth ruby, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th turquoise, the 11th jacinth, and the 12th amethyst. The 12 gates were 12 pearls. Remember this image from September of 22. Open the gates of wisdom within. And this beautiful image of a pearl. So here, the 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made of a single pearl. The great street of the city was of gold, as pure as transparent glass. And this is also this entire passage before we finish up with Revelation 21. This whole aspect is indicating that as of Master Jesus, as of the crucifixion and the resurrection and everything, the temple of God is in each of us. We are it. It is no longer a physical structure, that the movable tent that we had before, and the tabernacle and the big tent, or Solomon's temple and the second temple. The temple becomes us, 8 billion humans. It is within us. And this is why this cutting through and this dazzling display of brilliance is both within us and upon us. That is the moral of this. Lastly, I did not see a temple in the city, because the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are its temple. The city does not need the sun or the moon to shine on it, for the glory of God gives it light, and the Lamb is its lamp. The nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their splendor into it. On no day will its gates ever be shut, for there will be no night there. The glory and honor of the nations will be brought into it. Nothing impure will ever enter it, nor will anyone who does what is shameful or deceitful, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. And so they, the unseen, have been preparing us over and over and over again. And remember, this can be biblical, this can be otherworldly, biblical, revolutionary in its magnitude. We can look at it that way. We can also look at it as though the time calls for this revelation, this change of how we are as human beings, who we are. And you'll see that coming up in the SABIAN symbols, how this ties together for this Virgo new moon. And so there's this aspect of nothing impure will ever enter it, nor will anyone who does what is shameful or deceitful. So this is about being ready, being aligned, living correctly. Here comes the sun. And as we move into the SABIAN symbols, let me do that. You can see the energies for me are a little bit jumpy, is the way I would say it. Their intense brightness. Here's the first SABIAN symbol. And this is about Venus conjunct Mars. It's 5 degrees Aquarius, but it's 6 degrees, the SABIAN symbol. And this is from Dane Rudyard and an astrological mandala. The symbol is, a child is seen being born out of an egg. The keynote, the emergence of new mutations according to the great rhythms of the cosmos. The ancient symbolism of the cosmic egg, out of which a new universe is born, can be interpreted at several levels. Here we see the appearance of a new type of human being who is not born from, quote, ancestors, and who therefore is free from inertia of mankind's past, liberated, free, no longer enslaved. It is the death to the sun. Here comes the sun. It is from the devil to the lovers. We're being liberated. And humankind is a new product of evolution, a mutant. And a mutant is an animal or plant that is physically different from others of the same species because of a change in its genes. New species, so new humans, are merely mutants of earlier ones, meaning they are new versions of the previous ones. They constitute a fresh projection of the creative spirit that emanates from the cosmic or planetary whole, and not from any local culture or racial tradition. So this means, again, we are not limited. So new human is not limited by its past, by its ancestors. We stand upon the shoulders of giants, and yet somehow, again, a new order, a whole new world, a whole new order is being made. I'm creating things new. And thereby, it exceeds that. This second stage symbol is in contrast with the preceding one. It can be said to announce, quote, the emergence of global man for the new age. For a new age, the age of Aquarius, the new age. The power of the whole is focused within them in perfect freedom from ancient standards of value based on local conditions. Meaning, we are, again, the power of the whole is focused within us because it's perfectly free from its past. It's a new creation. It's a new human. And yes, I understand, here we are, 3D, everyone's going about their lives, and how fantastical this may sound. And yet, all ancient civilizations, when we look back at the cuneiform tablets of Sumerians and the Mayans and the Aztecs, all of these ancient cultures, India, China, all of this ancestral history, the pyramids of Egypt, there are many, many, many aspects that tell of this story of an age that preceded us, that we still can't do what was created and constructed and experienced then, and yet we're the most advanced? Question mark. So this is talking about the emergence of global man, of humankind, for the new age. That is the symbol for the Venus and Mars, this joining together, this coming together, this equal balance of divine masculine, divine feminine, that we're whole and complete, always have been, but now there's an awareness of its amplification, its presence in a greater measure. And it's the way to something. It is, again, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's not that we forego the ego, mind, personality and that we kill it and throw it away. We don't. We bring it into harmony, into alignment, into service to the soul source connection, the divine feminine. And thereby, it's very harmonic, it's rational and reasoned, and we sit down and we discern and we communicate and we consult and we compromise, we work through for the advancement of the whole. So now, let me bring up the astrological chart. This is the wheel, the astrological wheel, the natal chart, or the horary chart for the Virgo full moon. And within this Virgo full moon, there is a tense T-square, that's the red line aspects that you see in the center, and then a grand earth trine, blue line aspects in the center. And so we're going to cover a few of these because they're fascinating. And they continue to go along this line of new human, cutting through. Here comes the sun, and this great and everlasting brilliance inspires you. It's everlasting. They talk about, when the Bible literally speaks of, and the Quran and others, they speak about this everlasting, that eternity, that the kingdom of heaven, if you will, goes on for eternity. So it's everlasting brilliance. So I'm going to go to the tense T-square first. At the apex of that tense T-square is Pallas Athene, and then we have the moon and we have the sun. That comprises, so this full moon, the moon and sun opposite each other, with Pallas Athene at the apex, the top of it. The Sabian symbol for Pallas Athene is an old owl sits alone on the branch of a large tree. The keynote is a poised and wise approach to existence based on a clear perception of unconscious factors and their operation. So we have a wise approach to existence based on a clear perception of unconscious factors and their operation, the unseen, things that are present here, even if we don't, quote unquote, see them in front of us on our third. It's a higher octave of seeing. The owl has always been a symbol of wisdom, and its hooting call has evoked a rise to mysterious and hidden elements in life. The owl functions lucidly in the night aspect of existence. Their eyes see what mankind normally fails to perceive. They represent that consciousness which is active, where the processes of life normally escapes the attention of the personal ego and its intellect. If we are earthbound human, ego, mind, personality, focused, driven, living, we will miss what the owl sees, the higher wisdom. It will escape us. This symbol suggests the possibility of developing a wisdom beyond tragedy, a peace and poise beyond conflict. One might speak here of translucidity. See, it's advancing beyond. Look at our current world. Tragedy, conflict, chaos. And this symbol speaks to exceeding that, moving beyond it. The sun is about a parade of army officers in full dress and the dedication of human beings to the service of their community and the assurance that it will be emotionally sustained by the people at large. This symbol speaks to great responsibility and group responsibility, uniting, fellowship, socializing, coming together for a common ideal, a common cause. It is not about staying the way it was. It is about advancing and moving forward. The moon is a merry-go-round. Its keynote is the first experience of the dynamic intensity of life processes and of the possibility of using them to reach a characteristic ego satisfaction. So this symbol is talking about, it's in reference to the merry-go-round with horses and so forth, and it says, as the horses always represent vital energy, later understood to be possibly libido or psychic energy, the merry-go-round at this stage symbolizes or prefigures the awareness of cycles and the ups and downs of the emotional life. This symbol more generally implies that any cyclic release of life energy provides us with the opportunity of demonstrating some type of skill or mastery. So it's about the cyclic release. We release the old. We release the Piscean era, that divine masculine aspect, to receive, because it's a type of skill and mastery. We've mastered it. We're looking at the shadow aspects of it. We're looking at the hard, cold truth, because there's nothing greater. When our ego mind personalities are aligned in concert with higher mind and higher octave, look at the greatness that humankind, that human beings master, offer, afford. And we are dealing with, in this completion, this life review of 2,000 plus years, we're looking at what didn't work. Pluto, revolution. We're in Aquarius, new age. We're looking back to see all of the ugliness, is the word that comes to me, the goo, so that we can transmute it, so that we can transcend it. In its broadest sense, we see here a characterization of what the developing consciousness, and at a certain level, the disciple on the path, we are all disciples on the path, experiences. This is an objective approach to the life force, an objective approach, how we go about living, how we're meant to live. As above, so below, heaven on earth, divine soul having a human experience. This is an objective approach to the life force, to the way, how it's meant to be. So now let's look at the grand earth trine, the positive aspects in this Virgo full moon. Again, it's the moon. So we have the moon playing a role. Then we have Ceres. And the symbol for Ceres, the Sabian symbol for Ceres, is 10 logs lie under an archway leading to darker woods. The keynote is the need to complete any undertaking before seeking entrance to whatever is to be found beyond. So this is about the need to complete any undertaking before seeking entrance to whatever is to be found beyond. Number 10 logs. Number 10 is a symbol of completion. It symbolizes even more the revelation of a new series of activities just ahead. Yet unless the concluded series is brought to some degree of fulfillment, nothing truly significant is likely to be accomplished by a restless reaching out toward the as yet unknown. It means we got to finish up our business. We've got to get it right. And then we advance. It's all there. The ending is in the beginning is in the ending. But we do have to complete the cycle. Number 10 is a symbol of germination, but the seed, number 9, must have matured well. No natural process can be accelerated safely beyond certain limits. This represents the 5th stage in the sequence. It establishes a foundation for what will follow. Here, humankind reaches a threshold, the key word is threshold, in which they may have to pause to safeguard their further advance. So there may be this momentary, the trains are in the station. One's arrived, one's leaving. There's that momentary threshold and that stationary moment where the vibration is very loud because one is ending, one's beginning. One's arrived, it's completed, one's embarking. And so those, imagine, see a train station, be it a European train station, and feel the energy, the intensity of those two engines running at the same time. Stationary, one completed, one embarking. And last but not least with this grand Earth trine is Jupiter. And it's a woman watering flowers in her garden. The keynote is development of the powers of the mind on which ego consciousness is based. And this is one of our second quotes. And it's such a beautiful statement. And we're using the blue rose. And the blue rose is a high, high, high octave of love, of empathy, compassion, forgiveness. It's the blue rose. And the quote is, as the roots, so the flowers. And it's epically profound, and it's very simple. What's at your center? What's at your root? So too the flowers. So we bloom. There's another beautiful quote, your character is your fate. So as the roots, so the flowers. And this symbol, and it's Jupiter, it's the great benefactor, it's the expansion. He represents expansion. And it says this overall situation, this symbol relates to the development of the ego. The key word here is cultivation. So the unseen, we are being guided to cultivate greater roots, greater interior, greater character, greater depth. So that as we advance, we advance to, eternity, heaven on earth, everlasting brilliance, not the lake of fire. And remember, energy, everything is energy. So in this reference, you can never kill energy. You can only transmute it. So there will be that which is pure, good, pure, that goes on. And there will be that gets transmuted because it is not that, or it won't become that. An energy, 8 billion souls, we all have the opportunity to choose our character, our fate, our destiny, our souls. We're choosing these things. And that is this aspect in the Virgo full moon that's coming up. And it's Virgo, it's the great mother, it's the divine feminine, it represents the harvest, it's all of these things. And they bookend, Virgo and Leo bookend. In the astrological wheel, the astrological year completes with Pisces and begins with Aries. However, there is discussion about the fact when we look at, again, the pyramids of Egypt and the great sphinxes, and they face, it's Leo, and what bookends Leo? Virgo. So Venus, divine feminine, divine masculine, bookending, coming together. So a few others before we wrap up with the astrological wheel, because they're fascinating symbols. And I just wanted to get to one of them here. So here's Venus, and her Sabian symbol is a man who had for a time become the embodiment of a popular ideal, is made to realize that as a person, he is not this ideal. See, this is where all of this, all of our traits, our abilities, our gifts come through us. We are not those gifts. We are the custodians of them. We are the recipients of them. And this symbol, so Venus, beauty, the illusion of beauty. Look at, Tinseltown, Hollywood, and so forth. And when the star, so here, the star on the movie screen is not the actual person. The star's popularity fades away. It can. The person remains. What has this episode of popularity actually done to the person? This is a question that can be applied to a great variety of circumstances. And this symbol speaks to self-revaluation. We are not the masks, the identities, the labels, the jobs, the careers, the status, the abilities. That is not who the person is. Absent all those things, the money, the labels, the prestige, the titles, who are we? Who are you? That is the purpose of this. And obviously, when we strip all those things away, the purity of the soul, the purity of who we are, the authentic soul self remains, is ever present. And that is far more valuable, purposeful, omni everything, because it's everlasting. The soul, the oversoul, is everlasting. Saturn, the great teacher, an aviator pursues his journey, flying through ground-obscuring clouds. Man's ability to develop powers and skills which, by transcending natural limitations, allows them to operate in mental, spiritual realms. And this is speaking to mastery. So again, we have this that evokes achievement of mastery. We bridge the gap. We bring the two together. Heaven and earth, higher mind, ego, mind, personality, soul self, human self, the human. And there's much talk, we joke about, there's a colleague of mine where we talk about, she says, my human is tired. And it's funny for me because to refer to ourselves as my human is tired. Yes. And yet my soul is ever brilliant, vibrant, ready, ever ready to go as follow, to lead. So we have some beautiful, and last but not least, number 4, the unseen said, a return to normalcy, a return to peace. And then I heard the 2 songs which we've had before, Piece by Piece by Kelly Clarkson and Imagine by John Lennon. Imagine all the people. Imagine living in a world where these ideals are reality. And this Piece by Piece where, she speaks about how life, because of her father, and how the husband or the father or the divine masculine we can be lifted up by it, that be put back together by it. We'll apply that to Allah, Buddha, God, Master Jesus, divine masculine, however it resonates with you from a place of spirituality, faith, religion, but that a return to normalcy, a return to peace. And it's number 4, it's foundational. And then number 5, they said, surprise with exclamation points. And again, the Barry Manilow song, Looks Like We Made It. And so there's for all of the strife and the struggling and the dharma and karma and reincarnation and cycles and everything that we have gone through and you are going through in this moment, in this lifetime. The unseen is saying to us, surprise, exclamation points. Looks like we made it. And in the song, it looks like we made it on our way to another love. So meaning, while we may have been focused going this direction or thought we were going this direction, the love of someone, of another, the love of something else is what brings us, saves us, brings us, makes us whole, guides us, and thereby looks like we made it, that we actually make it. We do overcome the challenges. Why? Because of the sun. Here comes the sun. This radiant, beautiful image. It's by Luminous Tarot, Brigitte Ashwood. And look at the absolute brilliance of this image. Royalty, entrepreneurship, the ingenue, the renewal, the sunflowers, the mantle, the red mantle, and this divine feminine aspect, Mother, Father, God. This divine aspect of the feminine radiating her light, her golden light upon all of us. This is the moment we are in, and it has to do, I'm going to leave you with this. This came to me some years ago, back in 2016. I was in southern France and northeastern Spain, Mount Conagu. It's in the Pyrenees. And I was looking out of my hotel off the balcony, and it looks like this massive crater on Mount Conagu, representing the divine masculine energies. And there was this, what I saw was this massive diamond sitting in the crater of Mount Conagu. And I heard blue topaz, white diamond. And so the energies in the, when you look up blue topaz, white diamond, the energies, and here we are, this cutting through, a dazzling display of brilliance and diamond. That is who we are. That is our legacy. That is our life force. That is the brilliance of the new. That's what's occurring. So I look forward to, and interestingly enough, next week, the 28th, is the last Wednesday of the month, and yet the next day, once every 4 years, is the leap day, February 29th, in this leap year. So as we cut through and leap forward, a dazzling display of brilliance awaits us. Can't wait to see you all next week and see where all of this goes. Until then, be really, really, really celebrate yourselves. Be kind with yourselves. And if there's something to be overcome or discussed, or do it. What's there to lose? Why wait? Do it. Because you'll never know who you are until you're on the other side of that. We'll see you next week.